The president pushes lawmakers to pass a comprehensive energy and climate bill this year that includes a price on carbon. China calls on the U.S. to make stronger climate change commitments. And industry leaders are talking natural gas today at Zero Week 2010.
From the Energy News Center in Washington, D.C., this is the Energy Report with Susan McGinnis.
Good morning, I'm Susan McGinnis. Thanks for joining us for the Energy Report on this 10th day of March 2010. The president pushed lawmakers to pass a comprehensive energy and climate bill this year that includes a price on carbon at a late meeting he called yesterday. 14 senators from both parties and 4 cabinet members met with Obama for more than an hour. This long-awaited climate bill that's about to come out, sponsored by Senators Kerry, Graham, and Lieberman, does not include the controversial cap-and-trade system that's been talked about, but puts different carbon controls on different sectors of the economy. Their bill targets electric utilities, transportation, and industry, with power plants seeing a cap on emissions that gets stronger as time goes by. Transportation fuel could see a carbon tax, and industry would so far be exempt from a cap for a few years, then it would be phased in. The bill also expands offshore oil and gas drilling and supports new nuclear power plants and carbon capture and sequestration for coal-fired plants. Graham said a comprehensive bill is the only one that can pass the Senate. Kerry said lawmakers are moving rapidly to draft a bill that could be on the Senate floor this spring. China says the U.S. needs to make stronger commitments on climate change. China's top climate negotiator Xie Zhenhua said today, although the Obama administration has improved its commitment on the issue, White House promises of greenhouse gas reductions fall far short of expectations. He's also calling for the U.S. to take the lead on technology transfer and financing to developing nations. He said China hopes the U.S. won't shift the responsibility for taking more active action to other countries, and said that China wants dialogue to achieve fruitful results in December in Cancun. The comments followed word that China and India have signed on to the Copenhagen Accord, the last 2 major emitters to endorse the deal. The United Nations has found an outside panel to review the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The Inter-Academy Council, this is a group that includes the science academies of 15 nations, will have complete control to review the panel's rules, procedures, and reports. A scientist close to the situation says Inter-Academy Council will decide which of its members will take part in this review. The IPCC's credibility has been called into question since errors were found in its landmark 2007 report. UN officials hope the review will be finished before the IPCC's annual meeting in October. Stimulus funds are headed into carbon capture and storage. Energy Secretary Steven Chu announced that a project with NRG Energy in Texas was chosen to receive up to $154 million, including funding from the Recovery Act. NRG will build a 60-megawatt carbon capture facility in Thompsons, Texas. The project is a post-combustion capture and sequestration project to demonstrate advanced technology to reduce CO2 emissions. You're looking now at AEP's CCS facility in West Virginia. This new project also involves enhanced oil recovery at an oil field nearby. The project was chosen under the 3rd round of the Clean Coal Power Initiative. That's a government and private industry collaboration to demonstrate low-emission CCS technologies in coal-fired generation. DOE will provide up to $154 million in federal funds matched by NRG Energy. Vermont state regulators are said to be pushing for an immediate shutdown of the Vermont Yankee nuclear plant. They're being pressured apparently to shut it down because of leaking tritium environmental groups say is polluting the environment. The Conservation Law Foundation and the New England Coalition say the power should shut down until the source of the leak is found and fixed. The State Public Service Board opens an investigation into the matter today. This all happens just 2 weeks after lawmakers voted to close that plant in 2012. Updating and expanding the electric grid has several hurdles to go before it becomes reality. One of them is cost allocation, which regulators are now trying to figure out, specifically how much to charge ratepayers for the price of an expanding grid. This was the topic on Capitol Hill, where the Environmental and Energy Study Institute gathered regulators, lawmakers, and utilities to talk about ways of allocating the cost of grid expansion. Many there say the old rules no longer apply in the face of a projected 20% growth in demand in the next couple of decades, and with the expanding role of renewables.
What we see now, though, are projects that don't fit neatly into the buckets that have traditionally been associated with transmission. Again, reliability, economic projects, or generator interconnection projects. So these new projects renewable integration. They could be anything from overlays, interregional projects, or multi-state, multi-utility projects. Those are the ones where we see cost allocation, or the cost allocation methodologies that have existed may not be working well.
The group says federal regulators should focus on regional goals instead of a one-size-fits-all policy. Pacific Gas and Electric has signed on to buy power from First Solar's Desert Sunlight plant in California. First Solar says the project is scheduled to be finished as soon as 2013 after the Bureau of Land Management fast-tracked the permitting process. Construction of the 550-megawatt solar farm will start later this year on more than 4,400 acres of public land in Riverside County. PG&E has recently been rounding up a number of solar power suppliers. It's all part of an effort to achieve the state-mandated goal of generating 20% of its electricity from renewable sources by year-end. Natural gas drillers in West Virginia now have to file reports on water they use in hydraulic fracturing. The state requires the report for any well that uses more than 750,000 gallons of water in the hydrofracking process, including those for shale formations and coal bed methane recovery. Companies have to report the amount and location where the water was withdrawn, the amount injected into the well and the well's location, the amount of flowback water recovered, also information on the disposal, treatment, and recycling. The report must be submitted within 30 days of the end of the flowback period. And today is Gas Day at CERA Week in Houston. Tuesday was Oil Day, but it was really hard to tell the difference. Speaker after speaker crossed from oil into the topic of newly abundant shale gas, with major oil companies all in the process of learning about the U.S. hydrofracking technology that's made the gas accessible and figuring whether they can apply it elsewhere in the world. James Mulva is chairman of ConocoPhillips. He called the decades of gas reserves a gift in the country's move to a cleaner economy.
We are blessed, as I said in the comments I made at the CERA speech. We have the opportunities for a great deal of supply. And the result of that is going to be that with more supply available in forms of unconventional and conventional, as well as potentially bringing Alaska gas down and supplementing that with some LNG imports, the result is going to be that there's less volatility in the price of natural gas. And it can be used more and more, as we see long term, as a superior source of fuel or feedstock for power generation.
Well, today's CERA Week sessions include topics like global gas surplus, disruptive technologies, regional gas outlooks, and natural gas in transportation. We have a Clean Skies News team there. Check the site for Margaret Ryan's reports. Let's take a look now at some energy goings-on around the Beltway today. At 8:30, the Alliance to Save Energy started hosting an energy efficiency policy forum, bringing together experts from public and private sectors. Clean Skies News is there. At 9:30, the House Select Committee on Energy Independence and Global Warming has a hearing on clean energy jobs and consumer saving. And at 11 in Rayburn, an Interior and Environment Subcommittee hearing takes place on reclaiming abandoned mines and regulating surface coal mining. That's the Energy Report. Thanks for joining us in the Energy News Center. For any suggestions or comments about our programming on Clean Skies News, you can email us at contact@cleanskies.com. And a reminder, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Susan McGinnis. You're watching Clean Skies News.